Hello, this is Jasmine from the Book Arts program at the J. Willard Marriott Library at the University of Utah. In the next two videos, I'm going to show you guys how to make a single sheet book, and I'm going to show you the center cut variation. It's a very simple book form. We teach this from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, and at our program, we really like to use this variation to teach about zines. And if you're unfamiliar with what zines are, they're a very effective and efficient way for students and people of all ages, artists, writers, poets, to get their artwork and ideas out into the world using really simple materials like a piece of printer paper and a pen and a pencil. And it's great because once you finish your book, you can replicate it by putting it on a copy machine, and then you can copy it as many times as you want, and then you can distribute it. It's usually a physical print, but since we're using digital and the internet communications, it's also something that you can put on the internet and share with your friends through social media. So we hope you enjoy this. The only two things you're really going to need for this book are a pair of scissors and a piece of copy paper, so printer paper. And it's just regular size, 8.5 by 11. And if you have one available, you can also use a popsicle stick, but this is not necessary. The two necessary things are the scissors and the paper. So go ahead and pause there, gather your materials, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to do this variation 2 different times. The first one's going to be with a blank piece of paper, and the second one is going to be with an actual printed previously printed version that we have available to download on our website, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So once you have your scissors and your paper, you're going to start by folding this piece of paper in half, hot dog style. So make sure that it's the long way, and make sure that you line up your corners and your edges, and make sure once your corners and edges are lined up, instead of folding from one side to the other, I always like to use my finger and find the center where the fold is, so that way it holds it in place, and then I'm going to fold from the middle to the outer edges, just like this. And this is where your popsicle stick can come in. You can use the side of it to go over the fold and really enforce the fold. But you can also do this with the handle of your scissors. You can also just use your fingernails and really crease it. So creasing it is really important to get a nice clean crease. Then you're going to open it up and you're going to fold it in half the opposite way, so hamburger style, lining up your corners and your edges again. Bringing your finger in the middle of the fold. Fold from the middle to the outer edges. And go over it again with your tools. Okay, so now you're going to make your book into a letter V. We're going to turn this letter V into a letter M. So by doing that, you're going to take the top of the letter V, and it doesn't matter which side. I'm just going to start with the left side. So I'm pinching the left top of the book, of the page, and I'm going to bring it all the way down to meet that fold. So again, pinching the top of the V, bringing it down to meet the fold. And you can even lay your book down. Make sure that you get all your corners and edges lined up. Pinch the middle, fold to the outer edges. Okay, so I just went from the top of the V down to the fold. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So bringing the top of the letter V down to meet the bottom. So same thing on both sides. So now we have a letter M or a letter W, M or W. And if it's the opposite way, if it's going this way, just make sure that you reverse it so that you do have an M. Okay, so now you're going to make your book into a letter T. And you're going to find where that center fold is, right there, this line right here. And I'm actually going to use a pencil to kind of highlight it so that you guys can see it a little easier on your screen. So this fold right here, once I have my book into letter V, that's where I'm going to start cutting. So I'm actually going to start cutting from here all the way to here, but I have to make sure that it stays in the letter T because I don't want to cut all the way through the book and have two different pieces of paper. So I'm only cutting the center from here to here. Another way you can do this is if you make it into a letter T and kind of pinch where you need to cut, flip it upside down, and that is where your cut is going to be, from the fold all the way to the table or whatever surface you're using. So I'm going to start cutting, stopping there. Okay, so that's all. So I've just made the center cut. That's why we call it a center cut. It kind of looks like a little mouth. And then at this point, I'm going to bring the folds together, and then I'm going to bring these two folds together, these two little creases together, and then I'm going to wrap one side around the other. And now you have a little book. Now once it's blank like this, you can number the pages. You can have your front cover here, number page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the back cover. But that's basically a blank book that you just made. And then once it's all designed, you can turn this into a comic book, you can write a story, you can illustrate, and once you're finished with it, you can unfold it, put it face down on the copy machine, and make however many copies you want to distribute. So I'm going to show you also how to make one that has, if you want to download this from our website, it's great because this is a creativity zine. So it gives you different writing prompts and different drawing prompts. So especially for those little kids out there, this is a great one to just practice with so that you don't have to worry about them getting the pages mixed up and numbering them. So this one, again, you can download from our website under the K-12 programming tab. If you go all the way to where it says prepared classroom kits, there's a downloadable PDF under single sheet variations. So when you have a printed version, you're going to start with the printed on the bottom. So make sure that you flip it so that it's facing the table so you can't see anything. You're going to fold it in half, hot dog style again, lining up your corners and your edges, creasing it, open it up, and fold it in half the other way so that the words and pictures are still on the outside. Crease it down. And then we're going to turn, again, the V into a letter M by taking one side of the letter V at the top, bringing it down to meet the bottom. And doing the same thing on the other side, so repeating it. Okay, so now I can't see any words or pictures, and I have an M or a W. So turn your book into a letter T, or almost like a paper airplane. Use your fingers to where you're going to cut, so just right here on this one fold, not through the whole book. I'm going to flip it over so that it's on the table, and this is where I'm going to make the cut. So right there, that's all, just from here, just from this first panel all the way down. All right, then I'm going to pinch these two creases here, these two folds. I'm going to bring them together, and then I'm going to find the front cover where it says infinity ways to be creative today. And that's my front cover. Crease it really well, go over it a few times. And there you have a creativity zine. And there's different writing prompts in here. You can write and draw. And so again, this is downloadable on our website. In the next video, I'm going to show you some even more examples that we've made of the Book Arts program for ways that you can fill your books in with content.